Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Today, we are going to have a discussion around digital transformation and how it is important as of now in our current situation, current environment. In our pandemic times, we have seen so much of disruption, so much of change in our approach, change in the necessity for change in everything. In that scenario, the digital transformation becomes much more important. So, we will be discussing about how to how digital transformation affects or kind of influences the business models. We'll be talking about uh, different ways of organizing the digital transformation, categorizing the digital transformation. We'll also talk about how to move about it, how to take next steps on that. Uh, so today's topic, we will be getting into the details about why it is important as of now. But before we start, I mean, just a high level, some housekeeping rules here. We will be keeping everybody on mute. Please use your chat window for questions and comments during the presentation. We'll be addressing those questions and comments towards the end of the end of the session. We will be recording this event and we'll be sharing this recording with the broader set of people in this particular webinar. So let's talk about what we are going to say, what we are going to discuss today. We basically will try to explain the current scenario, current situation, and how digital transformation is important during the current times. We need to organize. Digital transformation is a big word. We need to organize. We need to break out why digital transformation, how digital transformation can be categorized, what are the different ways of looking at digital transformation, what are the things that we need to keep in our mind. So there is a framework that we'll be discussing about how to understand and how to go about digital transformation. Then we will be talking about different areas where digital transformation makes an influence, and how do we take the next steps on that. With that, let me introduce myself and my co-presenter Manish here. uh, I am the president and CTO of Advaiya Solutions. I am based out of Redmond, Washington, close to Microsoft. We have been running this organization for last 15 years. And I also have Manish on the call, who is our CEO and founder, and he's based out of our India office.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Very warm welcome to this webinar, and we sincerely hope that you would find it interesting and useful as in your businesses going forward. So let me very quickly talk about our company, Advaiya. We have a mission to make technology work, and that comes from our observation, our experience, and experience of various organizations across that technology itself is not the end that the business seeks. Businesses need to be able to make use of technology in a smart way, in a way that really leads to the realization of the value that is inherent in the in technology, and that takes work, that takes tailoring of the approach, that takes serious efforts in customizing, implementing, understanding the organization, understanding how technology, and that's what we do, and we do it through the journey of identifying what needs to be done, how and when it needs to be done, that we can think in terms of information strategy, implementing the technologies, implementing the changes that are required in an organization, extending that deployment to lead to insights and information and knowledge and wisdom about the organization and about the marketplace that the organization is working in, and then extending that infrastructure, extending that deployment to much more advanced ways of doing the business. So we look at all of these aspects as a journey, and we help organization across all of these aspects. And through last almost more than 15 years, we have been working for organizations. Some of them are very uh, large customers. Many of our customers have been small businesses. Some have been in tech sector, some have been in manufacturing, in services, non-profits. So we have been working with a whole lot of different organizations, including Microsoft, Google, who have been our ongoing customers for last many years. Cisco and our solutions. They are in the areas of helping organizations with decision-making solutions, about improving customer experience and business productivity, and also helping organization innovate with the technology.
For these solutions, we have partnered with Microsoft, Sitecore, and Amazon, along with Google, to provide benefits of the current technologies to our customers. With Microsoft, we have achieved gold competencies in multiple areas, including cloud platform, cloud productivity, data analytics, project and portfolio management. We also have uh, 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 partnership with Sitecore, a certified partnership with Sitecore and Amazon to provide solutions tailored to their organizations.
Great. So that's about what we do. But then let's think in terms of where we are today. And all of these headlines say nothing new to you. You are all very familiar with what's really going on. There are certain aspects which are really there. They are disturbing, they are concerning, but then that's there. As you can as you have been reading about, as you are experiencing first hand, the all of the business aspects have been impacted. Whether it is about customer service, customer experiences, sales, marketing, workforce management, supply chain, every area of the business has been impacted with the current situation that we are in. uh, and the well thought out business strategies laid out at the beginning of the year or before, or long term business strategies, they no longer apply. The whole lot of rethink is needed. The budgets have been curtailed. The spend priorities have changed, and of course, for many businesses, in fact, survival is at stake. The particular situation has been threatening across the sectors, across geographies, and the impact is not not just to businesses, but then to our lives and livelihoods of various people. So we just cannot think of it as just another situation, just another disaster. And that makes it a very new, very uncharted territory. Now, when we think about these all various aspects, various business functions getting impacted, and impact being global, it's not a localized disaster. It's not that one aspect of your business, one particular operation or one division or one geography or one region has been impacted. The impact is global, and when that is the kind of situation, it is something which is unprecedented for modern businesses. And that does mean that we are really getting into a world of unknown. And that means that we have to think about it in a very holistic, in a very different manner. What we realize is that at the very first level, at the very basic level, the the way in which you as business leaders, you as technology leaders must be thinking about it. And of course you all are thinking about things in that way, must be thinking about it, is in terms of how do you gain more agility, more resilience, and more diversity within your business. And when I talk about diversity, I just do not talk about diversity of locations, people, their backgrounds. I'm also talking about diversity in the business ecosystem, new suppliers, different places where which you are connecting new partners, new customers, new ways of dealing with business, and a whole variety of them within the business. And when you think about these aspects that have become very relevant for the businesses today, we we got to double click them and think in terms of what it really means. And when you think about that, we realize that the that we need to think in terms of what customer value means in today's context, how the customer value delivery uh, has changed, and how does a business transform itself to deliver customer value in a new way, in a different way, in a way that's appropriate and that's adapted for the for the new situation. Also, it also means in terms of what is being called as the new normal. And new normal is only another way of saying that this disruption is not temporary. It is something that is here to stay. And that means that there would be fundamental changes that would happen in terms of how we work, how markets work, how our customers behave, and how do we make sure that our business is aligned to those changes. On a more operational level, it also is about managing the supply chain disruptions that have happened in India. For example, many companies they are facing issues with their imports from China, for example, today, or for a long time, the logistics were broken down, and many businesses are still kind of picking up the threads in many ways. The labor supply has been impacted, so there has been a whole lot of disruption, which is also an opportunity to put them in a new structure, new way, and so on. At the same time, in every business person's mind, there are certain key concerns: cash conservation, or overall commercial flexibility, or time to value. If you make a change today, you really want to see the impact tomorrow. You cannot really wait because things have changed. You are already in that situation now. So it is not about preparing for the situation. It is actually about addressing the situation. So when you think about these aspects of cash conservation, commercial flexibility, and time to value, you really think in terms of how do you get the most out of your digital investments, whether those investments have already been made or the investments that you might want to make, you might plan to make. How do you get the most out of them in the quickest possible manner? When you really look at all of this, it is very obvious that it is actually a much more fundamental change. It is impacting all the aspects of the business, and that really means that it is about business model shifts and how can we make right kind of technological interventions to facilitate business model shifts so that it leads to more agility, more resilience in the business. So one of the key things that many business people they find themselves to be a little skeptic of is the hype that is built around this notion of digital. Now we make a distinction between what digital is and what erstwhile IT used to be. Now think about it. IT and use of computing and use of information technology has been part of businesses, core part of businesses for many decades now. So what do we mean by digital transformation today? Is it just the same things packaged in a new way? Not really. We When we talked about and when we thought of IT initiatives, and we have been in the business for many years now, when we used to think about technology, we used to think about how do we do what we are doing in a better way. So that was about focusing on business processes, making them better, and the primary goal was efficiency. But then when we think of digital transformation today, we think in terms of not just changing or improving the business processes. We think in terms of how the business model itself can be reinvented, reimagined into something which was not possible yesterday. So that means the focus becomes how does the business delivers value.
Great. Uh, let's talk about this by taking a specific example of one of our customer, Asphalting, which is an asphalting services company providing asphalting services to local utility companies and local cities over here in Puget Sound area. When we started with them, when we started looking at their establishment, we found that their IT technology is being used for doing a lot of process related activities. A lot of things were getting included in their IT solutions, but still the endpoints and a lot of elements in there were manual. The focus was on what is going to be done today. So they were focusing mainly on uh, dispatch schedule for today, dispatch plan for today, and look at their day-to-day kind of things. With the digital transformation journey that we went through with them, we were able to get them to a level that now their new normal is basically talking about tomorrow and being aware of what is coming next week. So we have shifted the focus from now and today to tomorrow and to the weeks ahead. The idea was basically we embrace the technologies, the mobile-based technologies, the cloud-based technologies in such a way that they are able to run their businesses even in the crucial times, even in the disruptive times of COVID. And they have been doing it very successfully during this pandemic time as well. So much so that their business actually has increased over the last few months. With the help of digital transformation exercise that they went through. Now they are looking at automated work order life cycles. They are their technicians, their field workers are no longer waiting for instructions daily. Instead, they are looking at their plan for the upcoming days. They are planning their day in a much better way using their mobile platform. They are updating the things regularly. In a live platform, which is giving them right information at the right place to perform their activities efficiently. There is a single source of truth. The organization at the strategy level, at the board level, is making decisions based on their real live data instead of looking at the past created reports, which is kind of things in the past. Now they're looking at the things in the future and making decisions based on that.
And all this while they all of this is happening without them required to be in office. So dispatches, planning, coordination with vendors, coordination with crews, all of those can happen now while people are not in office, working remotely, and teams are still able to coordinate and collaborate well.
Let's talk about how are this possible. Like, I mean, I kind of stated certain things over here. Uh, the technology innovation that has happened in past few years kind of gave a lot of organizations, a lot of individuals capability to use the technologies, use the solutions that were kind of limited to a very IT savvy, geeky, bigger enterprises. Now they are being available for use by every individual, every organization, irrespective of size, irrespective of industry, irrespective of geography they are in. Now, the technology is available to almost everybody. This technology democratization enabled a lot of people not only to just be aware of things, but to influence the businesses in a much better, much lively way. The growth of cloud kind of enabled a lot of organizations to scale up, to use the technologies without waiting for the IT to catch up on their establishments. They can scale up very easily. And also the big scaled up technology solutions that were available at a very broader scale now are available to to the organizations of smaller and medium size as well. Growth of cloud also enabled people to access certain things irrespective of their location. So wherever they are, the hyperconnectivity scenario kind of gave them connectivity into their various systems. Even if they are in airplanes, they are connected to their systems now. So they don't need to create solutions specific for an offline scenario. Now people are much better connected, and pretty much we can assume a lot of uh, uh, kind of network availability almost at every place. All of these three combined kind of gives a new way of looking at digital transformation, looking at kind of look at possibilities and within your business to provide value in a different way, or realize like giving our customers value in an entirely new way that initially was not possible.
Now, how do we think about all of this? How do we really think about to go about when we talk about these changes in technologies that have happened, when we think about the kind of business model that we changed, that we need to change, we got to have a way of thinking about it. And one of the ways of thinking about it, and this is the framework that we have developed, where we think of a business in terms of what kind of a value that business is creating for its customers and for its users. And we have taken a leaf out of basic economics, where we are talking about what could be the various kinds of values: functional, economic, social, emotional. Generally, we really deliver all kinds of values at the same time, but then all of those, they take certain kind of specific business ways to be delivering that. Now, when we take a particular example here, let's say economic value. Economic value is all about how do we deliver more value in terms of better products, faster delivery, faster time to market, and so on, at a lower price, and with a better customer experience. We can really think in terms of what kind of interactions that it is about, what kind of systems that, or what kind of processes that this particular type of value delivery entails, and what would be the kind of changes that can happen. Now, that's a way of thinking about it. When we would be when we would be working with you on the consultation session, we can actually take one of these frameworks to think about that. So once we identify what kind of changes would be more relevant for delivering these value for your customers, we can think in terms of what are the kind of interactions that it takes. And that brings us to thinking in terms of what are the various constituents, what are the various interactions that a business is built on. And when we think of those interactions, we can think in terms of how technology has impacted those interactions. And here we have tried to identify how these various interactions have evolved over time. So what used to be something which was based on intermediaries, which has now become more and more self-service. But then the technologies that enabled a whole new way of interacting, that time has come today. The pandemic has not just necessitated, but then also given us as the opportunity to leapfrog, to actually enable the more evolved interactions today. And that allows us to identify what could be the kind of initiatives that our business can be helped with. So thinking about those initiatives and thinking about it in the same framework of what kind of value that those interactions offer, and what kind of interactions those entail, we can think in terms of various initiatives and where those initiatives can lead a business. Again, they have to be thought in terms of value delivery and interaction, but then they could be about improving decision making and insights, better visibility, better decision making, a data driven organization, so as to say, improved and better and modern customer experiences, whether it is about doing businesses digitally or it is about selling stuff directly to customers. It could be anything. Better and the greater productivity that can be had with the man and material that the organization uses. How the various operations in an organizations, all various functions, plants, processes, they can be integrated and made more efficient. What can be various ways of monetizing the value chain? uh, can there be new ways of delivering and charging for the services, and how can technology enable it, then? And overall, can businesses build new products or serve in new ways? What kind of innovation that business has? So those could be various aspects of destinations or initiatives that a business can take.
Now we look at these multiple destinations over here. We talk about these kinds of initiatives. How do we go about it? At every business, as every business is different, there has to be a tailored digital transformation view for every organization. And the journey can be kind of generalized in order for achieving the digital transformation that we talk about. The journey can be generalized into these four phases, starting with strategy development, kind of creating the right strategy, right business goals, right business value parameters, and planning about how, what all technology solutions or initiatives that we need to take in order to perform those kinds of strategical update. Then working on implementing these processes, these systems, making sure that they get adopted within the organization. So there's a whole implementation and adoption process that happens. After that, we basically generate certain insights, and these insights are not only just for the reporting sake, but you want to make sure that these are actionable insights. You can take certain actions based on the reports, the data that you are taking, you are getting out of these initiatives, and kind of implementing it back so that we can achieve the true value of our strategy that we begin with. With all of these things going on, we can now look at the new way of automating and using the intelligence that now the technologies can provide with the kind of innovation that happened in data sciences and automations, with artificial intelligence availability that we have now, that we can actually transform and enhance the value that we are getting out of these initiatives to a new level. And as we are going into these new levels, we start working on the new strategy development, the updated strategy development, in order to achieve all our multiple destinations that we identified in our previous step. So this cycle continues. This is a journey. This is an ongoing journey. It continues throughout our process, and it kind of is uh, uh, a continuous cycle that kind of gives us the true digital transformation. So as we go about this, there are certain things that we need to think about today. Now, this is essentially a kind of a checklist which talks about like where we need to start focusing on today.
So these can be thought of in terms of the essential criteria for identifying the digital initiatives as they are relevant in today's situation. As Dharmesh just mentioned, we are talking about multiple journeys and multiple destinations taken up in some kind of a sequence. I mean, they are overlapping, but then there is a sequence. But then as you select and as you identify the initiatives today, to ensure that those initiatives are really relevant and really help with the agility and resilience and the diversity that you need now, we must ensure that these aspects are duly considered. Now, those aspects could be related to ensuring that the digital initiatives actually helps towards adapting for business ecosystem diversity. So think about it in this way. Today, you would want whole of your supply chain to be much more flexible. Now, that would mean that your system should be open enough to connect with multiple vendors, multiple data streams, and so on. Similarly, as you add more complexity in the business today, you add more flexibility in the business today, you would be having multiple systems, multiple locations, multiple ways in which the work is being done. So are you ensuring that you are gaining visibility of about everything in your business and marketplace as is relevant to your business anywhere, wherever you are, at whatever level in your organization is that available. And again, as we think in terms of these pandemic times and to ensure the kind of work flexibility that is needed, we need to think in terms of are we enabling digital scheduling, dispatch, and work coordination, which allows everyone to work across distributed teams. At the same time, it is very important that we embrace, enable, and empower all sections of society. And so inclusion is something that businesses must work on in a very thoughtful and explicit manner. So those are the key things that when you look at various digital initiatives, they must be ticked off.
Yes, and I think, or if we try to summarize them, now we need to start thinking about solutions not just in time kind of basis, but we need to start thinking about just in case. One thing that we have learned out of this unexpected, uncharted pandemic is that uh, we have to be prepared for not only classic disaster recovery scenarios, but also need to be just in case kind of scenarios, kind of thing. So we need to make sure that we are agile, resilient, and kind of marching towards those. So for doing that, in order to get these this value generation, this digital transformation quickly, we need to do certain things in certain ways. The first very step that in order for gaining this transformation quickly is start assessing and appraising our business model. As we are going through this pandemic times, it's an opportunity for us to rethink, to go through the systems, go through the processes, go through the business model that we have and analyze them. Now, as a part of our consulting engagements, we actually help organizations do those assessments and appraise their business model, along with doing an inventory of initiatives and solutions that they have. Now, we can definitely help, but if you want to start with yourself, you need to start with assessing and appraising your business model. As you are going through that, you will start looking at different kind of initiatives, different kind of activities that are going on or that you need to take on. Based on our destination classification that you go through, the classification of different initiatives with the different kind of value dimensions or different kind of impact dimensions, you need to start prioritizing your initiatives. Consider small projects, consider small quick coupling of different data integration to provide quick value. Consider like how your businesses can immediately start getting value out of certain things. Think about microprocesses. Think about instead of affecting the overall main process, you are basically taking about peripheral processes around that.
So essentially, I mean, consider these quick wins. Those there. So while there are constraints today, the innovation must not stop. digital transformation is an ongoing journey, and every step taken in that journey only would help the businesses.
Great. And
And,
as a part,
yeah.
go ahead. As a part of today's webinar, we are actually helping organizations who are participating in it with a kind of a free consulting session, which can help you do the kickoff of the first part of this thing. And in order for us to provide that tailored consulting, the tailored business digital transformation exercise for you, because every business is different, every business model is different. In order to give you help around that particular thing, we will be sending you a survey which will help us determine how we can provide the best value in that for the first free session, consulting session that we are going to provide as part of this webinar. So please look out for that survey and fill up uh, these things.
So that kind of ends the material that we wanted to present. Our goal was to talk about what kind of aspects, or what various aspects and what various ways of thinking can help you embark on the digital transformation journey. And if you're already onto it, in the light of resource constraints and changing business scenarios that you have, how do you prioritize and realign your initiatives today? Thank you. Thanks for attending, and I hope it has been useful for all of you.